live in Western Oregon. This is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
New York Mayor Bill de Blasio appeared on MSNBC's Morning Joe program to announce he's ending his run for president. Good evening and thanks for joining us on NBC 16 News at 6:30. I am Alexis Thrower in for Jody Reynosa. He said the experience was amazing and the country feels much better to him than it is sometimes portrayed. He said in order to continue his run, he felt he needed to be in the debate after he felt the bar was too high for him. Mayor de Blasio said he would support whoever the nominee is, but he said it needs to be a progressive. De Blasio said whoever is the nominee needs to prove to the country that they are the change that is going to make things better for the working people. President Trump calls it a political hack job, rejecting reports that he made a troubling promise in a phone call to a foreign leader. We don't know details, but a U.S. intelligence officer found it serious enough to file a very rare whistleblower complaint. NBC's Alice Barr is in Washington with the latest on this developing story.
The mystery is growing around a U.S. intelligence officer's whistleblower complaint about President Trump, who is dismissing it as partisan, though he says he doesn't know the source.
It's a ridiculous story. It's a partisan whistleblower.
Sources tell NBC News it involves a promise the president made in a phone call to a foreign leader. The Washington Post and New York Times are reporting it centers on Ukraine. NBC News has not confirmed that, but House Democrats are already investigating whether President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, tried to get Ukraine to help the president's re-election campaign by digging for damaging information on rival Joe Biden and his son Hunter, who once worked on the board of a Ukrainian gas company. Here's Biden's response today.
Not one single credible outlet has given any credibility to his assertion. Not one single one. And so I have no comment except the president should start to be president.
And the Wall Street Journal is now reporting that President Trump repeatedly pressed the president of Ukraine to investigate Biden's son in a July phone call.
It doesn't matter what I discussed. I can say that it was a totally appropriate conversation. It was actually a beautiful conversation.
And we don't know the details of the whistleblower complaint because the president's acting intelligence director is defying calls from House Democrats to turn it over. He's overruling the intelligence community's independent watchdog, who found the allegation to be credible and urgent. Alice Barr, NBC News, Washington.
Walmart will stop selling e-cigarettes. In a memo today, the retail giant said with the regulatory complexity and uncertainty surrounding the products, it would discontinue the sale of electronic nicotine delivery products at all Walmart and Sam's Club locations. Health officials are investigating 530 cases of a mysterious lung disease that has killed 8 people. Meantime, the Trump administration is readying a federal ban on flavored e-cigarettes, while cities and states are pursuing similar measures. On to a first look at weather. NBC 16's meteorologist Josh Kozart joins us now in the Weather Center. Josh, when can we expect to see some chance and some rain in the forecast?
Well, it's going to be here sooner than I think a lot of us would like, but unfortunately it does land over our weekend, but I think we'll have a little bit more sunshine to start off than those rain showers, so that is some good news. But today we held tight onto some of those clouds a little bit longer than anticipated, but they did eventually move out of our area. Temperatures warmed up into the low 70s, but now that the sun is about 30 minutes away from setting, we've fallen back into the upper 60s for our current temperatures across the Eugene area. And you can see on our radar and satellite those clouds moving their way further on to the south and really kind of falling apart. So we'll have partly cloudy skies tonight, dry, temperatures into the 50s. The sunshine does return tomorrow and we will be warming back up into the 70s. But boy, the end of the year is right around the corner. First day of fall only 2 days away, 40 days away from the Halloween, and then Thanksgiving only 68 days away. But I'll let you know better chance for those rain showers in my full forecast in a few minutes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Josh. 4 people died in a tour bus crash today. Another dozen were critically hurt, with about 30 injured altogether. It happened near Bryce Canyon, Utah. Rescue crews and medical helicopters headed to the scene to aid the victims. The people on the bus were Chinese tourists, so a translator was also brought to the accident site. What caused the bus to crash isn't known. The first host of the HGTV's House Hunters has died. Suzanne Wang's agent announced the TV personality and actress lost her long battle with cancer Tuesday. Television viewers first fell in love with Wang as she served as the voice and face of House Hunters for nearly a decade. Wang hosted the hit TV reality series about home buying from 1999 to 2007. She went on to undertake small roles and guest spots in several television series and films. Her partner posted on Facebook that Wang fought cancer with courage, humor, determination, and optimism for 13 years. Suzanne Wang was 56 years old. Antonio Brown has been released from the New England Patriots. The team made the announcement in a statement today. Brown had only signed with the team 2 weeks ago. The Patriots signed Brown after he was cut by the Oakland Raiders. He was then accused of sexually assaulting a trainer who says Brown sexually assaulted her on 2 occasions in 2017 and raped her in 2018, according to a lawsuit filed last week in the Southern District of Florida. Brown has denied those allegations. The Patriots dropped Brown a day after Nike confirmed it had parted ways with the wide receiver. Coming up next on NBC 16 at 6:30, it was a day of strike to demand action on climate change, with even Eugene students taking part in the global movement. And later in the show, cleanup crews were hard at work today removing a goo-like substance from eWeb's property. What that substance was and more when we return. And if you see breaking news, give us a call at 541-393-KMTR. That's 5687. Or send an email to newsdesk@kmtr.com.
I've never been like the other kids.
You're watching NBC 16 News at 6:30.
Around the world today, people are taking to the streets in protests. It is called the Global Climate Strike Movement. Hundreds of thousands of people across the globe skipped school and worked to urge their lawmakers to take action to combat climate change. NBC's Chris Pallone has a story.
Around the world Friday, a global movement, a protest to save the planet.
We no longer have time. The poles are melting, the seas are rising, the world is heating up and quickly becoming less and less livable.
In cities across the U.S. and around the world, people walked out of school and work, striking to draw attention to climate change.
We're gonna strike for you, will you strike for us?
Pressuring elected leaders and businesses to take action to fight it.
We're making sure that Congress, not just here, but just governments all over the world are made well aware that we have a ticking time bomb.
Waiting on the world to change.
The strike led by young people, children concerned about what a warming planet will mean for their futures. Inspired by Swedish teen Greta Thunberg, who has become a leader and a symbol in the fight against climate change. She started by protesting alone outside her country's parliament. Now she's lobbying elected leaders at the highest levels.
And then I want you to take real action.
This is the issue of our entire future.
Climate change activists are finding their voice and strength in numbers.
The climate crisis is not in the future, it is right now.
Hoping their message will be heard before it's too late. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
Next week, world leaders will gather in New York for the United Nations General Assembly and Climate Action Summit. More protests are expected then. Thousands of students also took to the streets of downtown Portland to demand action during what they say is a global climate crisis. Catherine Van from our sister station in Portland talked with students that participated.
Students started gathering outside City Hall around 10:30 this morning. They quickly swarmed the streets to begin their march over the Hawthorne Bridge. Police say this was a permitted march. Officers shut down a portion of the bridge to accommodate the protesters. And we saw people of all ages and backgrounds here today carrying various signs calling politicians to take action. A representative from Portland Public Schools tells me about 5,000 students participated in today's march.
If this is something that's going to be affecting me as an adult or affecting my children or, affecting everyone, I think it's something that everyone needs to fight for.
Students were also surrounded by supportive adults, including some parents and teachers. Many of them say kids are getting an education outside of the classroom today. We did see some masked protesters in the crowd interrupting the marchers. We saw at least one person getting arrested on the Hawthorne Bridge. Police tweeted that one person was detained for vandalism.
Here in Eugene, a rally took place at the Wayne Morse Free Speech Plaza downtown. It was organized by Sunrise Eugene, a movement of young people fighting to stop climate change. Students, workers, and community members of all ages and walks of life came together, blocking off Oak Street downtown to spread their message.
In any democratic country, public opinion for our leaders matters. And if we can spread awareness for this issue and spread awareness that they're not acting, we can influence the public opinion and get different people who will act in office.
Organizers say several events will take place next week ahead of another day of action set for September 27th. Businesses on the coast are embracing the electric car movement. The Itty Bitty Inn hosts one of 300 events for National Drive Electric Week.
The ease of installation, cost of installation for electric vehicle charging stations. We'll also be talking about, well, job creation. We need more technicians out there, all focused on the EV industry and what that can bring to us.
He's got the only Tesla charging station in North Bend, something he says has attracted tourists to the area. He's hoping to see an increase in EV charging stations across the coast. An EV industry spokesperson says there are lower cost models and benefits to driving electric.
It's cheaper than going down and getting gas at the gas station, at the pump. Like I say, you have less carbon monoxide. You have our carbon footprint is less when we drive electric vehicles.
Parking is available at the North Bend Visitor Center just up the street from the Itty Bitty Inn on Highway 101 North. Attendees can learn more about EV vehicles, ride inside one, and test drive a 2019 Chevy Bolt EV Saturday 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Turning to weather now, NBC 16 meteorologist Josh Cozart is standing by for a look at what's coming up in your full forecast. Hey, Josh.
Alexis, the rain chances, they do return for western Oregon, and they could be having some impacts for your weekend plans. I'll have all those details next.
This is the Radio Rule Book. Now weather with meteorologist Josh Cozart.
Well, we held on to the cloud coverage across western Oregon just a little bit longer than we anticipated, and that helped to keep our temperatures on the mild end of things. But we did manage to warm up into the low 70s for the Eugene-Springfield area, and eventually the sunshine did return with clear blue skies overhead, and that will be a trend that we continue to see through the overnight hours tonight, and that will give way to a sunny Saturday for many of us. But those rain chances are just hanging off over the Pacific Ocean right now, and we'll be moving into our neck of the woods for our Sunday. But the fall-like temperatures, they're here today, they're here tomorrow, and really into next week. But our radar and satellite shows calm, quiet conditions. As far as rain goes, those clouds moving their way from the north to the south at this point in time. And that's going to give us partly cloudy skies for the rest of the evening and overnight tonight. Temperatures dropping off anywhere from the low to mid 50s for our overnight lows, and then some patchy fog is definitely a possibility, and that will linger into your Saturday morning as well. But our next weather maker comes in the form of a low pressure system and a cold front, but it's the high pressure down towards our southwest helping to keep the sunshine in our forecast for our Saturday. But that kind of takes a dive to the southwest, and then we start to see our cold front move into our neck of the woods. It's first going to increase our clouds for our Saturday night, and then those rain chances move in midday on Sunday. And once that cold front actually pushes its way onshore, cooler air funnels in back behind it, and that's going to keep our temperatures on the mild side and very fall-like through a good portion of the rest of our weekend and into our new work week. But our futurecast demonstrates that we'll have the clearing conditions tonight. You'll wake up on your Saturday with plenty of sunshine, and that sunshine will last through a good portion of the day as our temperatures do warm up into the 70s for most of our area, still hanging out towards the 60s for the coast. But then the clouds start to move in for our Saturday night. You'll wake up with mostly cloudy skies on Sunday, and then once we get into mid-morning, that's when those rain chances move back into our area. Very spotty in nature and not really amounting to very much at all. Maybe a quarter of an inch if you're lucky enough, and most of those rain showers are going to be holding off towards the coastal areas, kind of being wrung out as they move over the Pacific Range and then into the valleys, not getting in on very much precip at all. But hey, it still adds to our totals from a very wet September for us. But our daytime highs tomorrow on the mild side, in towards the low to the mid to the upper 70s as you make your way from north to south along I-5. Out towards the coast, temperatures will remain into the 60s with mostly sunny skies for your Saturday. So for your Saturday in the Eugene-Springfield area, area. We'll call for a foggy start to our day, but the sunshine burns all that off quickly. Then the rain moves in for our Sunday. Temperatures taking a slight bit of a tumble, only managing to make it up into the mid-60s. First official day of fall is on Monday with a high that reflects fall indeed, with the high of 67, and then we dry things out for Tuesday and Wednesday, and temperatures will be warming up slightly. Out towards the coast, plenty of sunshine for your Saturday. Temperatures hanging right around average for this time of year, as we should be right around 65 degrees. And then for the Umpqua Valley, plenty of sunshine for your Saturday. Temperatures flirting with 80 degrees, but our temps take a tumble for Sunday with a high of only 65. Rain chances move back in, but we dry things out quickly for your Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we warm back up into the mid-70s for us. So this roller coaster ride really in full force for us. We get a little bit of sun, a little bit of rain.
I've definitely learned whatever I need to do this weekend, I need to do it on Saturday.
Saturday, yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Josh.
Absolutely.
And cleanup teams are busy digging up a gooey mess near downtown Eugene that's been decades in the making. Crews are trying to get the contaminated soil out in the next few weeks. Although the soil produced an unpleasant odor, it's not a threat to human health. Contractors have been hired by the Eugene Water and Electric Board to get the gunk out of the ground and away from the Willamette River. NBC 16's Tom Adams has the report.
If you pass by the southeast corner of the E-Web property near the former steam plant, your nose will notice something's wrong.
It kind of smells like mothballs, has a kind of a petrochemical smell.
Tons and tons of black gunk in the ground created by a company on site that processed coal in the early 1900s.
What they did is they took coal and converted it to a gas that was used for street lighting.
Joe Harwood tells me by 1950 that company was out of business, but it left contaminated soil behind. E-Web purchased the property in 1976, and while installing power lines in the mid-90s, they discovered the mess. Now, in cooperation with the Oregon DEQ
and our partners Cascade Natural Gas and Pacific Corp, we are cleaning up this site to remove the contamination to make sure it doesn't get into the Willamette River.
E-Web says the 1,800 tons of contamination will be moved out, the area will be paved, and then Harwood says the city of Eugene may enter the picture.
And perhaps purchasing this property for use as some type of an intersection or a southern entrance to the downtown riverfront.
Officials say the contractor should have this job done before the end of October. Reporting near downtown Eugene, I'm Tom Adams.
Trees in Lane County are showing signs of poor health, with some even dying. That's according to OSU Extension officials. OSU Extension and Eugene Parks officials say conditions such as drought are causing them to die. Some tree species that are particularly struggling are fir and maple trees. If you're concerned about trees on your property or near you, OSU Extension is holding a workshop this upcoming month,
where I'll be bringing in our forest health specialist, Dave Shaw, and he's going to be discussing forest health concerns in big leaf maple, Douglas fir, red alder.
Visit our website at NBC16.com to hear from Eugene Parks on their efforts to planting more trees. Also, what you can do to help save trees on your property or in your surrounding neighborhood. Coming up next on NBC 16 at 6:30, Food for Lane County got a few extra hands today in preparation of next week's Day of Caring.
Do you have concerns about mild memory loss related to...
You're watching NBC 16 News at 6:30.
Next week is the annual United Way Day of Caring in Lane County, and volunteers from NBC 16 and KVAL got a little head start today. Our team volunteered this morning at Food for Lane County and bagged up thousands of pounds of bulk cereal for future food boxes. Food pantry managers say the help is much needed since the agency is moving into its busiest food gathering time of the year for people who are hungry.
About 20,000 pounds of cereal from them that we need to break down into usable portions for families and individuals. That food that we package tonight will go to partner agencies throughout the county and be distributed to families in need.
Last year's United Way Day of Caring drew more than 900 volunteers on dozens of service projects in the Lane County area. It's that time of year again for Pet Fest. You can bring your furry friend to Lively Park tomorrow. There will be demonstrations, prize drawings, magazine cover model search, and more. Dogs, cats, ferrets, parrots, and many more are welcome to the event.
We'll have about 40 to 50 vendors, all handing out little samples, giving information about things that you can do with your animals, how to keep them safe, animal regulators, veterinarians. We'll have a paw port where you can go around and get stamps from everybody.
Pet Fest will go on from 10 to 2 tomorrow at Lively Park and is free to the public. Runners, set your mark, and drivers get ready for road closures. The Prefontaine Memorial Memorial Race runs through much of downtown Coos Bay tomorrow morning. It's part of the weekend-long Bay Area Fun Festival.
The Prefontaine Run is done in honor of Steve Prefontaine, who was born and raised and went to high school here. And actually, had he be alive, it's his 50th class reunion this year. And then this was like kind of the last big hurrah for the last summer party.
The city of Coos Bay warns participants and drivers that the route includes road closures, including a main strip of Ocean Boulevard. More road closures follow the routes on the Fun Fest Market, Parade, and Vintage Car Cruise. Coming up next on NBC 16 at 6:30, we're kicking it old school with a video game classic. Stay tuned to take a walk down memory lane.
What a great way to welcome fall. A fall festival celebration.
Sega is going old school. The console maker from the 16-bit era of video games just unveiled a mini Genesis console that is inspired by its original system. Sega Genesis made its North American debut in 1989. In addition to the console, the company is also bringing back some of its classic games like Sonic the Hedgehog, one of my favorites, and Castlevania Bloodlines. The price tag for the mini is $79.99. It comes with 42 games pre-installed and 2 simple controllers.
And it's affordable.
It's affordable and fun. And I love Sonic the Hedgehog. But thank you for watching NBC 16 News at 6:30. We'll see you tonight for NBC 16 News at 11.